Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of your favorite current affairs program, 60 Minutes Nigeria. My name is Egosa Agbola. Today's program promises to be exciting, educative, enlightening as well. I must tell you that on this program, we take a look at national issues, especially as it affects the development of Nigeria. On today's edition, we'll be taking a look at the impact recorded so far by the social media. And I have in the studio a very distinguished legal practitioner and of course a law lecturer, Professor Joe Ojo. Nice to have you on the program today. It's a special edition because only the prof himself will actually exhibit mastery on today's discussion. Yes. So, but before we allow Professor Joe Ojo to make his comments on the impact of the social media, let me take your mind to a recent happening which of course was made possible by social media. It all happened in Igara, a 200 kilometer road project being executed by the member representing Akoko Edo Federal Constituency, Honorable Akpatasin. It's part of his constituency project. He's not the only one doing constituency project. Now, if you recall, during budget defense, budget presentation, sometimes we've seen that imbroglio created by one word that was coined then, padding of the budget. But the members of the House and the senators said, no, there's not like padding. What they actually infuse into the budget presented by the federal government or by the president has to do with constituency project. So, senators, members of the House of Representatives, they all have constituency project. And this project being executed in Igara by Honorable Patterson is part of his own constituency project for the people. But a very, very bold young man, a resident, an indigene rather, who also resides in that area, Lawani Street, discovered a very poorly executed road project. And like I said, the lion heart, he has a lion heart. He went there and displayed what was being done on the social media, which of course is self-broadcasting. Social media allows for self-broadcasting. With his own facility, he recorded it and it was aired through the social media. That's an impact. Now, the Edo State government swung into action. When the governor was represented by the deputy governor, Comrade Philip Shaibu, went there and revoked the contract. We'll talk more about that. But let's actually watch what transpired in Igara before Professor Joe Ojo will comment.
We dey see wetin no good, we go talk about am. Oga, make una see road wey they do. Why see camera no vex? They do ever do road wey be say the drainage go stop at dead end. Nothing dey. Drainage don't dey anywhere. See am, me I dey spoil am. See am. They do this kind thing. Where they don't do this kind thing before. Where they don't do this kind thing before. If you don't want to do, you don't do. You know that you did not do anything. See am now. See road though. See my hand. Now the road where they do be this. See the road. Now me see. Now my bare hand be this. See am. You dey see am. If motor waka for this thing now, the very day go remove am. You dey see am. Now my hand I take the open now so.
Okay, yes, you heard that young man. He actually was was lamenting in that video, and that video has went viral. It has gone viral, and that actually attracted got the attention of the state government. Like I said, Comrade Philip Shaibu presented Mr. Godwin Obaseki, the governor of Edo State, went there, and in that video, we saw the deputy governor actually pulling off, because even the asphalting of the road was poorly done. But like I said, we've gotten the reaction of Honorable Peter Akpatasi, representing Akoko Edo. I'll just quickly read his reaction. Now, I'll read that why the video is on. Yes, that's Honorable Peter Akpatasi. He said, okay, it has been brought to my knowledge that the above road project awarded to Royal Jeff Nigeria Limited by Rural Development Department as part of the zonal intervention projects in the 2020 Appropriation Act is allegedly being poorly executed to the dissatisfaction of my constituents. I am personally very embarrassed by the disturbing allegations contained in a short video by one of my constituents who claims that the ongoing job is grossly substandard. Therefore, I request the Rural Development Department should urgently investigate the allegations as contained in the viral video and report back within 24 hours with details of findings for necessary action to address this unpleasant development. He said his office should be furnished with details of the awards as well as bills of quantity. So that is Honorable Peter Akpatasi has reacted, but I must say that that video was by one of his constituents, and that has made people to talk. Okay, Professor Joe Bojo, that's the background to today's discussion.
Thank you. Okay.
Were you embarrassed because you are from that area?
Yes, definitely. Narrowing down to that issue, it was quite embarrassing. I felt very embarrassed too, because the member in question is somebody that we knew to be an activist, and so his forays in activism before he went to the legislature would have meant that he's up and doing in terms of what he does.
Yes.
And so the first thing that he was linked with that kind of shoddy, embarrassing job, to my mind, was quite unexpected. Quite unexpected. And then worse still was the fact that it took the young man's effort, like we said, through the social media to bring it to the attention. And so it brings to question how often he comes home as a member of the House of Rep, if he has a constituency office as he ought to be. And because ordinarily I expected that, considering the level that work got to before this complaint, he should have noticed any discrepancy or any irregularity with the job. He didn't have to wait for the young man to do the social media skit or for other persons, stakeholders in the State government to intervene. So for me, it's quite embarrassing, first as to the kind of quality jobs that our contractors do. First,
okay,
the contractor has a role to play in that kind of thing he did. It also brings to question the due process in award of contract, because it shows again that there's some hanky packing somewhere, as we often have seen in the public sector, where such jobs are awarded and some underhand dealings take place, and then the result is that kind of poor job. And then most importantly, it also brings to question the level of involvement and commitment our members we elected representatives have with regard to what happens to us at home. Because, like I said, he ought not to have been told or informed or gotten to know through such a committee skit, because it's his hometown, his own place where he represents. And then most importantly, it brings to fore our topic today, the role of the social media, the immediate impact, that kind of report, I report of that young man, the impact it has had, not just in Edo State, but you can be sure it's all over the country, and of course in the international sector, because I understand that some other agencies in Abuja and the rest are also very interested in knowing the outcome of the investigation that will look into that. The EFCC, the ICPC, and other agencies are also very interested, especially with the award of the contract, the bill of quantity like the honorable member has asked, and of course the contract value, if it's commensurate with what was done there, where you see a drainage being done without any reinforcement, without any backup, and all that. So in summary, it's embarrassing to all sphere of government. It's not time for politics, it's not time for blameworthiness, because this thing runs through all shares of government. Rules are constructed within a year or two, they fall apart. Boreholes are sunk, they are commissioned, celebrated. A couple of months, the thing dries up. And you blame whether electricity, schools are built, they are renovated, and before you know it, it's either leakage or they are vandalized.
Yes.
And so it all brings to question the level of government's attention to public infrastructure.
Yeah.
You invest so much money, where you even invest, you cannot maintain them or sustain them, and we have to replicate and repair over the time they get destroyed. Or at times you budget, you allocate, you appropriate huge sum of money for a project, they are not spent on the project. But bringing it back to our focus today, I think it is now very important, as we saw, that we should take these things in our own hands.
Okay.
In our own hands, we should all become the subcontractors,
the supervisors,
regulators, of course, the supervisors. So we should look to the hands of the Ministry of Works. The regulatory agencies too have become very culpable.
Okay.
Because you can imagine that job going on. Where is the Ministry of Works or what have you? What happened to the federal agencies that should regulate it? Assuming since the federal government intervention by way of constitutional project, we expect the federal government agencies to also be in charge. So we should take charge, and the freedom of expression granted by the Constitution means that we should take charge of not just see what is happening, but reporting it appropriately and promptly. And that's what the young man has done. Because that brings to the fore the role of the social media.
Yes.
In a positive sense now, and not just the negative aspects that we often tend to associate.
We're going to come to that.
And so it is very commendable.
We're going to come to that. Yeah, but the state government, the deputy governor who represented the state governor, actually disclosed during that on-the-spot assessment after the attention of the state government was drawn, by the viral video and all of that. Now, he said that Honorable Peter Akpatasi never informed the state government that was going to carry out that constituency project. So in other words, the state government was not aware. Probably that made the state government not to supervise. Because if they were aware, they would have sent one or two state government officials to the site. Okay. But we are yet to get the reaction of Peter Akpatasi on that particular one. Yes. Did he actually inform the state government or did he not? But we've heard that the deputy governor said he did not. So I expect Honorable Peter Akpatasi to also react to that.
That should also be interrogated to the extent that what is the due process? Do you need a clearance from the state government or its institutions before you can carry out such project?
Okay.
And if you have to, at what stage? Is it just by way of information, or if it's when you are done with it, you want to commission, you can invite the governor to come and commission? What is the level of synergy between the state government, its apparatus of governance, and that of the member of the House of Rep, who for now is on the federal side of the divide, because the projects will be seen as a federal government project. I don't know, I may be wrong. Because it's considered by a federal member. If it was by a state, the state House of Assembly member, it could come within
as
the
state affair.
But if it comes from a federal House of Rep member or a senator as it were, it will be seen as a federal. Because I asked it because I know in the time of politics there was this issue between the state governor then and Senator Ruide too, about some projects that were done in some streets in Benin, where some streets were either rehabilitated or had some projects done. We had a similar face-off over quality and the rest. And then we had a similar face-off with the NDC and the state government too. State government, our governor have been very, very frontal about the issue of NDC doing substandard jobs in the state, and that there should be a synergy between the NDC and the state government. I agree there should be a synergy, but on what terms is what I can't really fathom. Is it a question of taking directly from the state governor or just having a synergy by way of a partnership for information? So I don't know whether it is mandatory for the House of Representatives to have sought clarification, clearance, or informed. I don't know if it's mandatory. But what I do know is that even if there was no prior information given to the state government address, if somebody is doing anything within your domain,
you're supposed to be aware.
You're supposed to ask questions. And if politics is played the way it should be, which is for developmental purpose, I believe that the state government and these agencies and of course the officials have access to Akpatasi to even scold them or cheat them and say, this project that I noticed why.
Exactly.
And I also believe, like I said, that the poor quality of the jobs started from the foundational purpose. From the excavation, you see the depth of that.
We saw
that is not deep enough. So it's not deep
and that's
enough.
supposed to be a drainage.
It's not deep enough.
Expected to probably deflood an area.
Take an area that they say that will be highly flooded. I know Igara is very, it's full of hills. I don't know if they have serious study probe. I don't know. experts will determine that. But whatever it is, because you build for the future, you don't build for just today or 2 weeks or 2 years from now. So the debt alone. So there are state actors who have seen that. So they should have intervened. They didn't need to wait for that man to have done that skit.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the man, God sent the man to do it, but they didn't have waited for the man to do that.
Exactly.
And because there are so many other areas where we don't have some bold people like that. And there are some areas where you have some vicious politicians who have attacked that young man. If you want to try it in some other places now,
so people could have seen this, attack him, see his
phone and throw it away.
Yes.
If the House of Rep member had some boys on ground, I mean, there was boys as quotes as it were, or some sympathizers on ground, and they stopped the young man, we won't get to know all this. So that's why the state actors, institutions should be the ones who should be at the frontal part of it.
Yes.
And then we can also play our role, but they need to expose us to
exactly.
this. The young man has gotten it,
Yes.
he's done it now, we're applauding him, but God forbid he was attacked. I recall so many years ago where people were attacked for such similar things.
And now the impact of social media was actually brought to the fore by that young man.
Yeah, definitely.
The social media now allows citizens, allows constituents to even act as watchdogs.
Yes.
So they can monitor their senators, they can monitor their House of Representatives. They don't need to wait for only government. Don't government yes to do the job of individuals now, citizens now should know that this project is for them. If a particular senator, maybe his tenure is over, he will leave.
Yeah, definitely.
If a member of the House of Reps, his tenure is over, he will leave.
Yes.
But the project remains. And the project is for the people. So it is good for the people to also monitor these projects. And say, okay, you are doing this for us as a constituency project, we want to see how it's done.
Yeah, definitely. See, the whole idea about social media, looking at it from that perspective now, is that the concept of whistleblowing, which is what this young man has done. But the whistleblowing thing, we must also put a caveat to it. Let's put a caveat like a rider. It's not really about what he has done. I'm going straight to the open space. For example, if the agencies are working the way they should work, and if the personnel in government are as responsible as they should be, what he just videoed now will have been sent to the appropriate ministry.
Yes.
He didn't need to have put it in social media in the sense of public opinion before the state actors get involved. You go and making. If he had this recording and it was sent to the regulatory agencies to become evidence to confront the contractor and all that, but because of the lack of faith and confidence in all these agencies, because they also have not done what they need to do by being proactive, that's why he has not gone to the open space, to social media. And it's now easy to read ulterior motive to what he has done for those who may want to politicize what he has done. But the important is that what he did was in the best interest of his community and himself. And so you cannot now fault what he has done, no matter whatever motive you want to impute.
Okay.
But like you said, if the regulatory agencies are doing what needs to be done, he could have done this privately, send the pictures to them. It may be through the same social media. It may not be the general platform. Because if you have official handles of the agencies, you send it to them, you send it to the person involved, even to the honorable member himself, you can also send it to him through by whatever means, for him to have also seen that this is what is happening here. But now it became more public because it went to the... So social media is in grades. It's in grades. Are you going to the open media that becomes open access to everybody? Or you have some classified platforms where you can share information, but within a privilege or a restricted. But I believe anything is wrong with ITV now. You have a platform where your staff will make you know, as a top management staff here.
Yes.
You don't put it on the Facebook for me.
Yes.
It's non ITV network. If anything happens in my department or my faculty, we have platforms.
That is internal mechanism.
We have a platform.
Yes.
In my faculty, we don't have in my department.
Okay.
Because for the entire university, where you can also ventilate such issues.
Okay.
So if I take it outside the university again, it's still social media too.
Yes.
But again, it's a bit of proportion.
Okay.
So we also put it in that perspective. That what he has done, he has very interesting in the drama. We enjoy the drama and the theatrics. But again, if it were to be shared on, if the honorable member had a social platform where your counsel can talk to you, which is accessibility.
So, Prof, you just brought another angle to the discussion.
Okay.
Because we need to really find out the relationship between members of the House of Rep and their constituents. But we're going to do that after this brief break.
Okay.
nice to have you back. Professor Job Ojo is my guest on this week's edition of 60 Minutes Nigeria, and he has actually made very, very vital comments on the very appalling viral video that exposed a very, very disheartening, poorly executed road project in Igara. Well, Honorable Patterson has actually cleared the air. He has made his own position known on the issue. We've also seen a group that issued a statement signed by John Mayaki, also commending the member of Akoko Edo Federal Constituency for embarking on projects in that locality. Doing projects is for the people. We're looking at the impact of social media. One of the impacts is what we are discussing now, which was done by a very, very brave young man who actually was selfless in his service to humanity, not thinking about himself, not thinking about the inherent dangers in what he did. He could have been attacked, he could have been molested, but he was having the burden of the people on his shoulders. He wanted a situation where projects are well done. Patterson is trying to absolve himself of any blame. That's the attempt.
Yeah, obviously.
Yes, but
Damage control.
then you can also judge. Every member or every member of the House of Representatives should know from this viral video that there is need to carry his or her constituents along in the scheme of things. That's what Professor Job Ojo has said. If there was a platform, a social media platform, where the constituents can also readily furnish or reach out to the member, it could have helped. Because sometimes it's not every time the member will be in Igara. Yes, not every time the member will be in Akoko Edo. Yes. But there should be, social media has made it possible for you to send information for speed. Yes. And then we look at the history of social media. It all became popular in the 80s and in the 90s. But from 1997, social media was well entrenched. And in 2001, the service was followed by Friendster. So innovations is, when we look at the history, it all dated back to May 24, 1844, when innovations in social media networking, internet services, electronic doors, and dashi start out by hand on the telegraph machine. These are electronic messages, but it has evolved over time.
Definitely.
So we cannot rule out social media being part of us today.
Definitely.
Okay. Now it should be a tool to be used for development and not for destruction.
Yes, definitely. That is why when we profile what this young man has done,
yes,
it just pigeonholes the very use of social media for positive and developmental purposes.
Okay.
Which it should be. Social media should be used to develop a person intellectually. Okay. Because you will learn a lot. Information are garnered from social media. You can learn so much. It should also be used to develop society, like we saw this communal thing. Information can be passed, and what I have done, like I said, is also to develop this, because that job has to be done properly. Exactly. Now it has been rewarded. Yes. So the new contractor will have to do a better job. Okay. Because the other one has failed. So it can be used to develop society. Of course, the economic value is quantifiable. You see, a lot of business can done, for example, advertisement. Yes. Advertisement volume on social media. I thought that when the Twitter was banned, you saw the uproar that came because of the traffic on Twitter for those who are into advertisement, those who are into entertainment, which is very important. Entertainment, because entertainment is all about information, of course, education, put together. And so you cannot now downplay the role of social media. And so what you need to do is to tap into the benefits of social media, especially on the positive side, and while you try to regulate or try to minimize the negative aspect of it, because of open access, it is reachable, it is open to everybody, no barriers, no geographical barrier, and of course not very expensive. With a little phone your data, you can post anything and go. So those are the areas we look at because it's now able to abuse it.
Exactly.
Because of the easy access,
Yes.
there might be some little a lot of room rather for abuses.
Yeah,
so
but we've seen that.
You have to be
Yeah, that's actually what gave room to the issue of fake news.
fake news, hate speech, all that, you know.
In social media,
social media.
government agencies are not comfortable with the social media
They are not
because they look at the negative aspect of it, that it
Definitely.
exposes the ills of
Government
governance.
so easily. Like this one now, I'm not sure a lot of people will be happy with what the young man did too. And we want to mention those because
The camp of Honorable Akwatasi may not be happy with it.
Because like I said, he has exposed his inadequacies in quotes. Because even if you said you try to, you're not involved in the award of the contract, assuming you're not aware in the award, but you cannot claim to be aware that the project was going on. So that would be draws a negligence on your part because maybe you're not concerned about the project.
Yes.
You're not also having feedback. And these people, they have a lot of PAs too. So who is your PA who was on ground to
Monitor the project.
So he will not be happy with that. You may not be happy, but you take it in good faith. Because like, I am happy with what he did by writing and ask for investigation. It's a show of a man who also has some integrity. Because others would have been angry, scampering, and trying to call names here and there. So others would say you are bought, you were sent by the opposition party, you sent, no, so many people are taking it. So wait for the outcome of the investigation to see whether those who are really caught by the contractor herself, who are directly, and those who awarded the contract in the first place. Let's see the BOQ, let's see what. But overall, the social media has played a role here. And I'm sure, like I said, would have wished if the young man had sent that into his private
so that we would have been able to
platform.
Yeah, we would have been able to relate the young man
one-on-one. Manage it, privately as almost a family affair.
Yes.
That you and I getting to know, and then entire people get to know.
Yeah, if you and I didn't know, we would have been discussing it today.
Certainly. So if you have any plan of going back for maybe a fourth time, I don't know how many times he has served now. I'm sure he has a lot of work to do now.
That would be very. He has to think about it. Yeah, but then whether the young man gave it directly to Akwatasi or allowed it to be in the open space, I think the message has been passed.
Definitely.
Now we've seen the complicity of contractors, Nigerian contractors. There's a school of thought that believe that Nigerian contractors should be encouraged to do projects. Now, if that contractor, as a Nigerian, is doing that kind of shoddy job, it's not going to be a merit to our indigenous contractors.
Yes, definitely. Even the dichotomy between Nigerian contractors and it's not really there because, at least for now, we can even say that most of the contracts are done by Nigerian contractors. If you want to mention the ROCC and the Vegas themselves, they are mainly manned by, go to their management board, they are owned by Nigerians because those companies are registered in Nigeria. They have their registered with the Corporate Affairs Commission.
Yes.
You cannot have a totally managed company in Nigeria without Nigerian involvement.
Okay.
So without going into details. So there are Nigerian companies in strictly sense. But what matters is that who are those personnel you have on ground? Do you have engineers working with you? And what is the transparency in the award of the contract? They are very good Nigerian contractors. Very good.
I agree with you. They are very good Nigerian contractors, yes.
Man worked so hard in the public sector, and they did so much. There are so many Nigerian contractors who are very good. But because I'm not involved in politics, we don't play the usual game of give and take. You can be sure that this contract was before it was awarded, there were persons who were more competent, who still have integrity, who still have the fear of God. And the young man says about fear of God. If you have fear of God, you will not do that kind of job because you know that it's not going to last. You want to endanger those you try to. So,
even the road users, it poses a threat to road users.
Yes. It's I know it's an air road. I know when the gully, I put my tire to cover the gullies with asphalt, and then I jump in and then I get an accident. So if you follow due process, that is why you have so many procurement office, procurement agents are established, procurement law was enacted, and we have the office of the due process even in Abuja. We have so many regulatory bodies to ensure that when you want to award this contract, it is open bid.
Okay.
It is open to those who are qualified, and you go through the tenders process, and then those who are involved ensure that the best hand at the most reasonable price get the job.
Okay.
So there are contractors who are qualified, they are Nigerian contractors, qualified by way of experience, their knowledge, capacity, and also by way of character, honesty. So even if
Yeah.
you say, if you tell them to give you kickback, as we call it, you say no. Because if you just want to do by the contract term is 15 million, and I told myself I'm going to make maybe just 2 million. I'm going to spend 30 million to do the job, just 2 million. I said, okay, well, that's enough for me. Maybe guys going to take off my student school fees.
Yes.
I will get
You get the job done properly,
but
and to be of quality.
Good, but our people prefer the man who will come for the same 15 million. He has promised to give them 5 million as kickback or whatever it is, and then he's going to use 10 million to do the job. But he has already said that I'm going to use 5 million to do the job. I must make 5 million out of it. So 15 million budgeted, 10 million goes into private hands or private pockets, and then 5 million
becomes
to do the
substandard.
job. So that is what you find, and that is what the social media has exposed by this occurrence. Because I believe that without preempting what I want to do, you find that by the time you see the report, you find that there were more competent hands who have done the job at a more reasonable price and do a better job. But they didn't get the job because they don't belong to the class they prefer. Maybe they're not party members, they're not from that locality. For example, if you have to use local content and for they don't have the economic power, maybe they have to run around to get it, spend money to get it. So the good ones may not get the opportunity. And so you end up this bad give a toga that we don't have good engineers.
Yeah, but what advice do you have for government? Because many persons actually believe, like what you said, that we have good contractors, good local content-minded contractors. But they may not get the job. We are not talking about the Garaon now. We're talking generally now. Some persons, some engineers who can deliver don't get the jobs because of this kickback thing. Don't you think the EFCC should step up their game? The ICPC should step up their game? Of course, this particular Gara issue now, the state government has called on the EFCC and ICPC to probe the member representing Akoko Edo.
Yes. Well, calling for his probe may be too personal in nature. I think it should probe the entire.
No, they said the contractor should be arrested.
All those involved. Good,
they said the contractor should be arrested, while the member should be probed.
Because now, coming back to the point, the due process that we expect from such award also will be backed by social media too. Because these days, the way you can prove that something is transparent too is when you put it in the open space to some extent. It may be not open-ended, but it's a bit regulatory. So if you want to bid for such a job, make it open. Okay. And you want to ask yourself, how many people are aware that that job was open for bid? Was it by open bid? Was it by just a secret award of contract?
Okay.
Because social media makes it clear, even before the regular media, both print and electronic, means that you should advertise such a work.
Okay.
Expression of interest.
For bidding. To allow bidding.
Expression of interest, showing your interest. Go through that process, people will come and indicate interest. So the good contractors in quotes are the very good ones will get to know about the job and they put in the application. And if it's transparent, you put it okay, online, go to this website. Go to this website, you will see the job specification, you put in your application, go to this website, you will see those who are shortlisted for the job, for the contract bidding. Go to this website, you see the job quotations and all that. Then go for the interview. When you go to the interview, you get the results, you see it on this website. That is part of social media too. Okay. So I don't need to go to your office and be asking for a file. Then you go to the office to be pushing files with bribes and here and there to get the job. Okay. So it is open. You and I can monitor it. Okay. So if we hear that Adamu that did this, the name of the contract will be mentioned now. Expect that it should be blacklisted. Ultimately, when after investigation.
Maybe after investigation.
I expect. I'm not saying even though his name being mentioned now. He may have his own reason for what happened. But if that contractor is found culpable ultimately, so it should be blacklisted. And so if tomorrow you hear that he's going to be given a contract to do anything at Oredo or Ego,
people can now react.
You can react.
Yeah, is it not that contractor that did this or that did that?
So we have a bad track record.
Yes.
So that is social media too. It's already the public space. And if I want to react, I may not come out openly too. Because at first I want to be anonymous too. Because some of these things you don't do it openly. I can also do it quietly and this man did a solid job there. And then somebody did a very brilliant job and it was showcased, still on social media too, but whatever platform. And I can say, why are you doing to John Bull? Adam did a very brilliant job at the Oregon Secretariat. He did a brilliant job at the Federal Project. So that is how it goes. Okay. So the social media is also a tool for information and advertisement, and so whatever you are doing is in the open space. You cannot hide.
Cannot hide it.
There's no more darkness.
That is the potent power
So that is what government should
of
keep.
social media.
You
Yeah.
have the laws, procurement laws and all that. You have institutions on place. But again, you should now be more transparent by using platforms that are powered by social media platforms,
Okay.
but not Facebook or the public space as they, but official handles that you and I can access.
Citizens can access and make contributions.
Websites and so that we can impute.
Okay.
So you don't do this thing secretly. But when things are done secretly, like now, imagine if out of access for the BOQ, I expect the constraint project that is, well, you're not in the United constraint project under his care. If those are awarded under you as constraint project.
Yes.
I know he may not be an engineer, but I expect that he should have an engineering team working with him informally or formally after.
Yes.
Then he should have seen the BOQ before now. And I expect that done it because the chairman of the council should have the BOQ. And then that ward, the party leaders in that ward should also show interest, not interest in voters who cares to vote for you.
Okay.
What is your interest? Where's the BOQ?
Yes.
It should be something that we all should see.
Okay.
I should
not be in secrecy.
Yeah, I should know that if this project was 100 bags or say a mark, I should know that.
We should go there and count it. Citizens should be allowed to go there and monitor the project.
Yes, yeah. You mark 100 bags, you need only 20 bags. Then it may do, they see appear okay, this one appear.
That's at face value.
At face value. Some roads that are done, that appear will not be durable.
That's it.
Because you are not gone in line with the BOQ or with the justice. So we need to know. And the only way we can do is by social media. But like I said, it's not the open space for everybody to get to.
Okay. There should be special handles.
Should be handles where you know it's for serious business, not somebody coming to post there because.
Prof, I must thank you for your comments. But if you are just joining us, we're looking at the impact of social media. Well, my guests have been able to posit that social media can be retooled to enhance development of any nation. But we are talking about Nigeria. The issue of fake news is negative. That is not required to develop any country. You can only create chaos, false alarm. And of course, Prof is going to tell us about laws that can also deal with such miscreants. But something happened in Igara, and we seem to have focused on that as a reference point. So if you are just joining us, let's just allow you again watch an excerpt of what happened in Igara, a young man that I regard a Lionheart, who actually went to assess a road project and broadcast his findings. Let's watch it again.
Good, we go talk about them. Oga, make una see road where they do. Why see camera over? They don't ever do road where we say the drainage go stop at dead end. Nothing there. Drainage don't there anywhere. See him. Me at the spoiler bomb. See him. They do this kind of thing. Where they don't do this kind of thing before. Where they don't do this kind of thing before. If you don't want to do, you don't do. You know that you did not do anything. See him now. See road though. See my hand. Now the road where they do be this. See the road. Now me see. Now my bare hand be this. See him. You dey see him. If motor waka for this thing now, the very day go remove am. You dey see am. And my hand I take the open now so.
Okay, yes, you have the opportunity. We just created the opportunity for you again to actually see what that young man did. Some persons believe that I should have waited for the casting to be properly settled and probably allow the sun to dry it and all of that. But the truth is that a good casting, Prof, a good casting with the right measurements and the right expertise, whether they are just doing it or not, can't pull off that way.
Definitely not. Because you can see that it took a while to the stretch.
Yes.
So, I mean, something that was cast for a while. before he actually came to more than inspect the work. So that if it was properly cast with the right dosage of cement and for the right granite or stone base, you do not know all these things. They know
they know the right
measurement
things.
to use, and then of course, again, I don't even expect that you should do that kind of cast without some reinforcement, like wire mesh or what have you.
That's it. We didn't see any of that.
Because what I was my
Yes.
experience, I know that on those sides you should have cast, you have wood, you set the wood
Okay.
as the platform. You put
And
the
rod,
wire-
sometimes
you put the
rod.
wire mesh or rod, depending
Yeah.
on the kind of reinforcement you want.
Specification, yes.
But the simplest now that mean to put the tiniest of wire mesh
Okay.
in between the wood.
Yes.
Then you
Then
pour
you
the
cast.
cement and granite cast.
We didn't
between the
see
wood.
that.
And when it become very firm, it has a base. So even if you brought a Hogan there to put it, you put it with hammer, and if you were going to use hammer,
Yeah.
what have you, it will come off. So that itself is indefensible already. It's not
It's a very terrible situation. Well, Prof, want to thank you for being a part of this show, but
Thank you.
we're going to allow you now to actually make your closing remarks.
Okay.
Now, you've been able to highlight the usefulness of social media.
Yeah.
You've also talked about the negative aspect of social media. Before you wrap it up, are there laws to actually curb the negative use of social media?
Yes, thank you very much. I was hoping we'll come to that reason because that is the area where I could really say I would be at home.
Yes.
Because now I'm talking about casting and all that. Yeah. But see, the social media is just an aspect of the general media.
Okay.
I know, like that's your feed now. You're having the print media, the electronic media. So the formal media is already regulated.
Okay.
And whatever laws affect the formal media affects the social media. Because the social media is peculiar, so you need some other, you need extra laws.
Okay.
Let me do additional laws to regulate. So our laws on defamation, for example, the libel, slander, are still very much in place. So if you defame somebody through social media, you are as liable as if you did it through the print media, maybe through the newspaper or through the
formal media.
So it doesn't change anything. So you don't accuse the man of stealing, accuse the man of anything if it's not true. You don't accuse the person of doing anything wrong because you think you're in social media. So we have told our colleagues, we educate our students, and any fora we have like this, we tell them that there's no immunity in social media. Not because it's not a faceless thing. You have your IPs noted, even your everything, the iOS people, those who, the ISP, you can be traced. Of course, you see people being traced every now and then. So when you insult somebody in defamation, then most importantly, we have laws on cyber crimes.
Okay.
So those who stalk, cyber squatting, those who stalk, those who bully online, those who do a lot online, we have a law on cyber crime in Nigeria.
Okay.
It's a law.
Yes.
It's not from the moon. We have it. So those boys who are into electronic fraud, so those are our boys who are into whatever they call themselves.
Yes.
It's through social media too they do this.
Yes.
They start first by sending you Facebook requests or coming, hacking to people's platform. So what's so bad now, they're hacking to group platforms, they take the role of the admin, they go for the admin, hack the admins, this and then they go into it. Some people, it's so bad they even set up meetings. These days we do a lot of Zoom meetings, and yes, they can set up Zoom meeting just to defraud you. They send you a link, you're not careful, but there are laws on cyber crimes, they're all there. So that is one, so you cannot be invaded.
Okay.
So there's laws on copyright.
So Nigerians should be guided.
So there are so many laws, copyright laws are there, so you don't take somebody's, everyone will forward you. If a man has a quotation, he has a right to that is particular to him, which he has a copyright, which is original to him.
Okay.
You don't forward without his permission, without his consent.
Okay.
You don't download somebody's music because you have access to
the internet
or what.
Yes.
You just download somebody's music and start playing, enjoying. Maybe from the download, you're going to produce the CDs that start selling, or you download the movie. The producer has spent all his years to go and download the movie, and you start playing in the cinema or use for your channel. So laws on IP and all that.
Okay.
So many laws that regulate, not just the ones we think are meant to stifle our freedom. No, they are not meant to stifle our freedom. They are meant to regulate so we all have a better use of the stream. That for the positive aspect, like I said, as against the negative ones that most people, whatever our youth think that they can use it for.
Professor Joe Odion, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
You've actually made very vital contribution to the success of this week's edition of the program 60 Minutes Nigeria. I hope you enjoyed our discussion. If you did, keep a date with me. By God's grace, next week we'll be looking at another national issue. Do have a wonderful weekend ahead. Bye-bye.